and what now between me and you?
Oh, that wasn't that. Two things. Don't tell nobody about this. This shit is between me, you.
Hi everybody! So that was a short clip from Pulp Fiction, which displays an example of an informal form of confidentiality agreement and what that might look like. So the purpose of today's presentation is to eliminate the prevalent use of non-disclosure agreements during allegations of sexual misconduct, and to provide awareness about the system that is in place right now, which is allowing sexual harassment claims to continue. So today what I'm going to do is define a non-disclosure agreement for you and its usage. I'm going to give you an example, a current example, of how an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, was used to support a criminal, and then I'm going to give you my solution to this problem. So first off, what is a non-disclosure agreement, right? A non-disclosure agreement is a legal contract between at least two parties, and it says that confidential material or knowledge is not to be shared. You're restricting the information that you're going to share with a third party, but you only want to share it between you, the two or more parties involved in the confidentiality agreement. The purpose of an NDA is quite simple. It's just to create a confidential relationship between two or more parties, and to restrict information from others when it's okay. So a non-disclosure agreement can be mutual or it can be singular. Mutual means that both parties are restricting information that is to be shared. And that, I think, is fine. When a singular NDA is used, it means only one of the parties is restricting information on the other party. So when I think about a non-disclosure agreement being all right, here's what I see. I see two companies or two individuals that are interested in going into business with one another. I see them deciding to sign a non-disclosure agreement as okay when they need to know the ins and outs of each other's company in order to make that informed decision. Yeah, I want to work with this person. But in order to do that, you need to know everything, right? A non-disclosure agreement protects both companies so that when these two parties, individuals or companies, are exploring the ins and outs of the other, they can't go around to someone else and say, hey Bob, look at what's working for that company. Let's just you and I team up and do it. So it's to protect the information that they share. So that's when I think it's okay, when it's a business proposition, right? Unfortunately, the singular usage of a non-disclosure agreement, meaning that only one party is restricting information on the other person, that's what's commonly used with these sexual harassment, sexual misconduct cases. And I'm going to give you an example now of a current event that's taking place. So does anyone know about the Harvey Weinstein case that's going on right now? Okay, a lot of people know about it. Okay, so quick preview for those of you who don't. Harvey Weinstein is an American film producer. He has produced, I don't even know how many award-winning films like Pulp Fiction and Sex, Lies, and Videotape. There's so many, right? So what's going on right now is Harvey Weinstein is being accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and rape in the community. What he did to cover his tracks was he used non-disclosure agreements. He had his employees sign non-disclosure agreements. He had his coworkers, he had his assistants, and he had these women along the way whom he hurt. He had them sign non-disclosure agreements in response to secret settlements. So here's how that hurts. Here's how that hurts the victims in the future, right? So at the time being, let's say you're working for a big company, right? The person who's hurt you is rich. Maybe he's not rich, he's wealthy. Maybe he's not wealthy, he's just in a higher position than you. Or, my God, he's your boss. Any of those situations occur, right? And you feel less powerful than this person. And this person says, if you say anything, I'm gonna ruin you. And on top of that, he says, I'm gonna give you a lot of money. Here you go, wads of money. And you have to sign a paper that says, you will never, ever speak about this. You're not allowed. You're legally contracting that you will never speak about this. And sometimes it even says, and when you sign this, you are agreeing that your accusations are false, that none of that ever occurred. I mean, it is really intense how you can sign your soul away. So now, since he covered his tracks along the way, his employees can't speak out against him, supporting the NYPD who are trying to build a case against him. They can't say, yeah, I saw stuff, because they are bound by this confidentiality agreement. So when it comes to criminal behavior, such as sexual assault, you can see how it can do a lot of adverse damage. So my solution, the policy in place needs to change, point blank. I think the policy that it is customary to use non-disclosure agreements during sexual misconduct allegations needs to be completely eliminated. And in my opinion, it needs to be made illegal in cases of sexual misconduct and criminal behavior. I don't see why it isn't illegal that a criminal can keep his criminal behavior a secret legally. So that needs to be made illegal. And in place, it should be illegal if it is not reported. So we create an environment that supports exposing criminal behavior in the workplace, especially in the workplace. That's my specific attention to the workplace, right? That sounds hard, okay? Especially since there are some legal experts in my research that I found that have said that some victims actually prefer these non-disclosure agreements because they are afraid of people finding out, their family, they're afraid of the ridicule. So my plan there is to prevent informational training videos to them on legal counsel and things that they have rights to, such as anonymity. A victim has a right to testify anonymously. We live in 2017. And I also want these training videos to contain information on the adverse historical effect that non-disclosure agreements have had. Basically explaining to people, you can't capture someone who is walking in the snow and has covered up his tracks. There's no way to follow him. So don't help this person, don't help a predator get away with this kind of behavior that he or she could continue to do to others. So just some informational training videos, that's my plan. Now how am I gonna get that? Here's my plan how I'm gonna get that. There's a congresswoman named Jackie Spearer who is currently working with a bipartisan group of politicians to introduce federal legislation that would change the way that Congress handles harassment charges and claims. And her plan is to include better legal counsel to employees, and also to remove the long-standing requirement that they sign non-disclosure agreements. So my plan is to reach out to her, hopefully work with her, suggest my plan to her, and get this moving. So to conclude, a non-disclosure agreement is a legal contract that is used between at least two parties to restrict information and from a third party. The example is Harvey Weinstein currently what's happening is it is difficult to present a case against him because he used these non-disclosure agreements to cover up his tracks. And my solution is that we present informational training videos to all new and current employees, informing them on their legal rights in cases of criminal behavior and sexual misconduct. Thank you so much.